another comeback win last night. French Fielder, an infield hit and an RBI that put the Brewers on top of their final at-bat. It was with 2 outs, and Fielder delivered big time. And now we're set for baseball today on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. It's the Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals from Miller Park in Milwaukee. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us this afternoon. Manny Parra gets the ball today for the Brewers and rocks the crew a chance to win the series against the Cardinals. What can we expect from Manny Parra?
Well, I think Manny Parra has to remember what got him to the major leagues in the first place. This guy is a power pitcher. I think he got away from that a little bit this year, and his stretcher is just trying to be too much of a nibbler. I mean, he's got to pound the strike zone. Manny's never been a guy that's going to be right on the corners, but when he throws his fastball, finishes his delivery, that's the one thing that they were working with down in the minor leagues. I mean, he can be dominant, and then once he gets ahead, he goes to the off-speed pitches. So Manny Parra just has to have a short memory. Forget about what has happened in the past and be aggressive here today.
Well, he might have found something in AAA Nashville. The record 1-2, but the ERA very good at 2.92. And Manny last Friday coming off 7 shutout innings in Round Rock. So a very good outing for Manny Parra that sets it up for this one here tonight. Now, plenty of all-stars among us here in this series. 3 of the 8 starters for the National League in this series. And, Rock, most of them have been held in check with the exception of Yadier Molina.
You got to wonder right now, they might have other things on their mind. I mean, Pujols, Prince Fielder, maybe thinking a little bit about that home run hitting contest. But Yadier Molina, one of the guys that has been consistent in this series. It just goes to show you, even with some of the game's best in this series, it's the supporting cast around them for a consistent offense, both for the Cardinals and the Brewers. The guys in front of them, the guys behind them have to get the job done. And in separate games in this series, they have been able to do that.
Pujols, Molina, and Braun, all all-star starters. Of course, Fielder will be in the home run derby. Good times last night at Miller Park. We'll see if we can keep it going. It's matinee baseball, the Crew and the Redbirds, and it's coming up next. By Menards. Save big money at Menards. By Time Warner Cable, the power of you. And brought to you by AT&T, your world delivered. Miller Park, Milwaukee on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Final game of the series with the Cardinals. And the Brewers a chance to win the series after a thrilling victory last night. A comeback win once again for the Brewers last night. The roof is wide open. Sun shining brightly here in Milwaukee. And the Cardinals starting lineup brought to you by Subway. Brendan Ryan, Colby Rasmus, Albert Pujols at the top. Ryan Ludwig, Nick Stavinoa, Yadier Molina in the middle of the order, with Jared Hoffpower, a rookie, Joel Pinheiro, and Brian Barden rounding it out. And on the mound for the Brewers, it is Manny Rapara after about a month in the minor leagues.
Well, the Piggly Wiggly scouting report, I was talking to Mike Rivera around the batting cage, asking him what he was going to do with Manny. All he would say to me, let her fly. Not sure what that means, but those are quotes from today's starting catcher. Got to finish his delivery. That's one thing that he and Chris Bosio were working on down in Nashville. Almost bring your hand all the way to the catcher's mitt, follow through, and pound the zone inside, and have a short memory. Don't worry too much about what's happened in the past. Look ahead.
It's like a Larry the Cable Guy scouting report. Let her fly. Get her done.
Get her done, baby.
Here's how the Brewers line up defensively behind Parra. Ryan Braun, Mike Cameron, and Frank Catalanato in the outfield. Infield is Casey McGee, J.J. Hardy, Craig Counsell, and Prince Fielder. And Mike Rivera will match up with Manny Parra here today. Those two combined for a perfect game in the minor leagues just a few seasons ago. Numbers on Parra coming in, a 3-8 record. ERA at 7.5. But Rocky went down to AAA, and he made 4 starts down there. 3 of them were very good. 1 of them not so good.
And in talking to Chris Bosio, the pitch coach down in Nashville, he's saying he was very aggressive early in the count with his fastball. That's what Manny does when he is successful. Brewers need something out of Manny Parra. He is certainly one of the keys to the pitching future for the Brewers. Make no mistake about that.
Paul Immel will call the balls and strikes today. Gary Darling is the crew chief. He's over at first. Bill Hahn and Bruce Dreckman, the other base umpires. There is need for a replay, a review. It'll be Gary Darling who makes that call. And we want to remind you that today's game on Fox Sports Wisconsin is being broadcast in high definition. We invite you to enjoy the pictures, and for a complete listing of FS Wisconsin cable providers, go to foxsports.com, keyword Wisconsin. Ready to play ball here at Miller Park. Homestand continues tomorrow with the Dodgers coming to town. That'll be quite a story with Manny Ramirez in that Dodgers lineup now. Got to close the gate. Cows are getting out. There we go. Seal it up tight, Rock. It's usually the guy in the passenger seat who handles the gate. That's why you always want to sit in the middle. You don't have to drive, and you don't have to close the gate.
I'm too big to sit in the middle. Not me.
Now we're ready to play. Brendan Ryan, Cardinals shortstop, leads off for the Cardinals today. Skip Schumacher's been in that spot, but with a lefty on the mound, it is Ryan. And he swings at the first pitch and 1 out.
Well, obviously very important for Manny to have early success. You get through the first couple of innings, you get that confidence going. Very important for a guy like Manny, particularly his first time back.
Willie Randolph returns to the bench here today after serving a 1-game suspension yesterday. Willie was ejected. He and Dale Swaim were thrown out of the game Tuesday night, but Willie came onto the field, which is an automatic suspension. So a day off for Willie. He's back, though.
Well, you can come on the field and then get thrown out. But if you're thrown out and then come on the field, you're suspended. Yeah.
Colby Rasmus, talented rookie, beats one into the ground. 2 up and 2 down for Manny Parra.
Well, Manny Parra pretty much of a straight up delivery. Big high leg kick, bounces on that back leg. Really no difference in his delivery as it is maybe his follow through a little bit. Finishing his pitches, particularly in on right-handed batters.
2 quick outs on 3 pitches. And here is Albert Pujols, and he swings at the first pitch. Boy, the Cardinals coming out hacking away here today against Parra. It's a little bit of a surprise. Parra has fought with his command while he was in the big leagues.
Well, they read the papers. They know what he's been working on, being more aggressive in the strike zone, and they're no dummies. They know what's happening out there.
Pujols pops it up. Counsell back in the grass. Catalanotto coming in. Catalanotto's got it. And that is a very good start for Manny Parra. 5 pitches, 3 outs. Now the Brewers coming to bat. Order brought to you by Subway. It's Counsell, Hardy, and Braun at the top. Fielder, McGee, and Cameron in the middle. And Catalanotto, Rivera, and Parra rounding it out. Joel Pinheiro is 6-9 on the year. The 9 losses tops in the National League, but not indicative of how he has pitched this season. His earned run average is 3.39 to start the day. He's been a guy in that Cardinals rotation, Rock, and there's usually always one who has not received much run support at all.
Well, a team that typically has not scored a lot of runs so far this year. The Cardinals are top of the Central Division because of their pitching. But he, more than any, hasn't got much at all, particularly in the month of June.
Pinheiro is a fast worker and throws a lot of strikes. He has about as good a command as any pitcher in the National League. Already with 2 complete games on the season.
There you go, 12 walks. He's only allowed 3 home runs. That's incredible with 16 starts under his belt already. So you go up there and swing the bat against this guy.
0-2 to Craig Counsell. Into center field, pretty well hit. This is sending Rasmus back toward the warning track. Out number 1. Rasmus can cover some ground out there. Line drive out for Craig Counsell to start it. How about the Piggly Wiggly scouting report on Pinheiro?
Yeah, Joel Pinheiro has a good sinking fastball. He likes to work away, gets a lot of ground ball outs when he's good. Brewer hitters got to get him up in the strike zone, at least early in the count. We talked about the run support. In 5 starts in June, 11 runs scored for him, and the 3 home runs that he's allowed, the fewest of anybody that qualifies in the National League.
Pinheiro ranks first among National League pitchers with the fewest walks per 9 innings, averaging 1.02 walks per 9 innings, the lowest mark in the league. And he's had 8 starts this year with no walks. He fired a complete game earlier this year at Busch Stadium against the Cubs. He went 9 innings. He gave up 3 hits. A game that lasted 2 hours and 5 minutes, and he only threw 92 pitches in 9 innings.
Yeah, gets outs early and counts. He doesn't strike out many.
Hardy cuts through, and a strikeout for Pinheiro. So you figure a lot of balls in play with Pinheiro. He pitches to contact. Defensively behind him, Nick Stavadoa, Colby Rasmus, and Ryan Ludwig in the outfield. A couple of rookies in the outfield. Brian Barden, Brendan Ryan, Jared Hoffpower, and Albert Pujols around the horn, with Yadier Molina, the all-star starter, behind the plate, catching Pinheiro. And a lot of players that spent some time in AAA Memphis earlier this year, starting in the big leagues with the Cardinals here today.
The Cardinals have 4 left-handed bats on the bench, and 3 of them started in yesterday's ball game. The only right-hander on the bench is backup catcher Jason LaRue.
Ryan Braun with 2 away. Braun coming into play with 16 home runs for the season and a .324 batting average. Second on the club in long balls, the Powerball home run leaderboard. Ryan with 58 runs batted in. And he and Fielder continue to be the top tandem driving in runs in all of baseball. Fielder and Braun have combined to drive at 135 RBIs this year. Pujols and Ludwig second on that list with 126. And Braun lines one to Ryan. Brendan Ryan makes a backhanded stab, and the side is retired. To the second we go. No score at Miller Park. Boy, it is just a great day here in Milwaukee today. Temperatures in the high 70s. Abundant sunshine is what we like to see on this Thursday afternoon. Our U.S. Cellular text to vote question. We're running this throughout the week. Should the All-Star game determine home field advantage? W for yes, X for no. And you can send in your reply. Get interactive with us here today and all week on the broadcast. Good sized crowd this afternoon. Final game of the series with the Cardinals. Dodgers will be here tomorrow. A 3-game series with the National League's best team beginning tomorrow before the All-Star break, which starts on Monday. Ryan Ludwig leads off for the Cardinals, and again, the Cardinal going after the first pitch. That's 3 out of 4 now for Manny Parra.
Now they want him to be aggressive, and that's exactly what you have to do. Get ahead in the count, trust your fastball, and later on in the game, as opposed to what he was doing before he got sent down, throwing a lot of off-speed pitches to try and get ahead in the count. And Matty's got good stuff. He's got an explosive fastball. That last one at 93. Get ahead in the count and then put him away with that splitter. That's what got him to the big leagues.
Oh, and 2 the count on Ryan Ludwig. Another foul out of play. Parra's had some pretty good success against the Cardinals in his career. I think the Cardinals were as shocked as anyone when they realized Manny Parra wasn't in the rotation to start the series, because against St. Louis, he's been a very good pitcher. A .370 career earned run average against the Cardinals, and Manny keeps pouring the strikes in.
Well, a lot of their pop offensively comes from the left side. You got Rasmus, the rookie, Chris Duncan and Keel, Skip Schumacher, those guys all left-handed, and a guy like Manny Parra give those guys some problems.
9 pitches, 9 strikes thus far for Manny Parra. Had a 5-pitch first inning. And that one just missed. Ball and 2 strikes on Ludwig.
Yep, split-fingered fastball that stayed up in the strike zone. Sometimes you can throw too many strikes. 0-2, not a time to be throwing too many good pitches.
His first ball of the afternoon, and Ludwig chases one this time.
That was better. Hit that split finger down in the dirt with 2 strikes. That's where you want it. See the way he gets on top of it, pulls down, and finishes that delivery. That's the key to a good pitch down in the strike zone.
Manny Parra making his 14th start of the season. Already his 3rd start against the Cardinals this year. Misses inside to Nick Stavinoa. Stavinoa, one of 15 rookies to suit up for the St. Louis Cardinals this season. Parra faced the Cardinals twice in a 10-day stretch in May. Picked up a win against St. Louis at Busch Stadium. Stavinoa skies one out to Cameron. And that's 5 in a row retired by Manny Parra. Parra beat the Cardinals on the 17th of May on the road. And then took a loss to the Cardinals, but pitched okay that day. Did walk 5, but only gave up 3 runs in 6 2/3 innings. And a 3-2 Cardinal win over the Brewers. Confidence such a key with any player, but especially for Manny Parra. And I think the fact that the Brewers sent him down allowed him to work on some things out of the spotlight. Not that AAA, the games count. Guys are trying to make it to the big leagues, and there's certainly some pressure there as well, but not like the big league stage.
It's awfully difficult to be working on things mechanically, when you're out there on a big league mound. I mean, you can only do so much down in the bullpen between starts. I mean, it's not the same. You don't have that same adrenaline rush. So down in the minor leagues, all the attention's away from you. And not a bad team for Manny to come back in his first start. He's got good feelings about the Cardinals. He's pitched well against them. So the stars are aligned pretty well here today for Manny Parra.
And Parra pitched well his last time out in AAA, and he returned to the site of one of his greatest baseball achievements. He was in Round Rock last Friday, where he threw a perfect game with Mike Rivera as his catcher back in '07. And that is a hitter-friendly ballpark in Round Rock, the Dell Diamond. That's the team that Nolan Ryan owns. Parra went 7 shutout innings, only 2 hits against Round Rock. Molina pops it up, and this is going to be another 1-2-3 inning for Manny Parra.
Guys can get on this inning for the Brewers. We'll see Mike Rivera, who's seeing his first playing time since June 27th. And Ken Maka said he wanted to make sure that he doesn't go forever without getting Mike in there, and to make sure that he was prepared to actually catch Manny Parra. He came out early yesterday. Him and Brad Fisher, they had some defensive blocking drills to prepare him for Parra, who has a tendency to try to get guys to chase that splitter in the dirt. So hopefully Mike Rivera can make the most of his opportunity behind the plate and at the plate, guys.
All right, Telly, thanks a lot. Prince Fielder leads off here in this second inning. You never know what might work. Mike Rivera and Manny Parra matched up pretty well coming up through the minor leagues. So you give it a shot. And Rivera has been anxious for playing time anyway. Backup catcher is a very tough job as Fielder serves one into left. Wow, that really traveled. Stavinoa playing extremely deep in left field. And maybe against some other teams that's an out, but La Russa has his outfielders deep against Fielder, and it works for a base hit.
Well, a lot of the teams the Brewers have played lately, the Minnesota Twins, the Chicago Cubs, and now the Cardinals, playing everybody in this Brewer lineup very deep out there. And Jason Kendall was able to get to third base on a ball that ordinarily would be caught, and that was a routine fly ball. You know, against most ball clubs, Prince will take it.
Using the opposite field very well. Fielder with his 18th opposite field hit. And here's Casey McGee. Casey McGee gets to look eye to eye in this series with the man who is leading the Rookie of the Year race right now, Colby Rasmus. McGee got a late start to the season. He's pretty much a bench player and a role player, not getting much playing time at all through the first 6 weeks of the season. But since he has gotten regular playing time, his numbers actually better than Rasmus during that stretch.
Well, Casey McGee is so important to this Brewer offense that Matt Gamble had to sit this one out after having a pretty good day, not only at the plate but defensively.
Taco Bell, who's hot. McGee in the month of July, 4 hits and 10 at bats. He's got a chance to be 2 here, and a 5-4-3 double play. Cardinals go around the horn. Pinheiro, the sinker ball pitcher, using the sinker to his advantage.
And it just bores in on the hands of Casey McGee, and an easy double play started by Barton. You see that a lot. I mean, you might want to maybe put a runner in motion from time to time, but the problem is Pinheiro fairly quick to the plate, and nobody throws much better behind the dish than Yadier Molina. And figure out ways to get that pitch up in the strike zone if you can, particularly early in the count.
Pinheiro making his first start against the Brewers this year. Lifetime against Milwaukee, 1-0 record, a 3.26 ERA. That covers 3 starts. This will be his 4th matchup against the Brewers in his career. Spent a lot of time in the American League, came up in the Mariners system.
He's always had that good sinker. And you're not going to get beat too bad when you've only given up 3 home runs all year in 16 plus starts.
Strikes out Mike Cameron, and a quick second inning for Joel Pinheiro. No scores. We head to the 3rd at Miller Park. whose swing you think this is at 234-234, keyword Brewers. Stay tuned to the Brewers Live postgame show for the answer. Beautiful Miller Park on a sunny Thursday afternoon. And we are scoreless as we head to the third inning. Jared Hoffpauir set to lead off. Cardinals second baseman today and another rookie in their lineup. Cardinals have had 15 rookies rock 9 major league debuts this year. And you're talking about a team who is 1 game up in the National League Central.
Nick, guys have been banged up, guys that haven't been performing. You got Troy Gloss has been on a disabled list. Carpenter was on the DL for a while. So, yeah, I mean, taking every opportunity, these young kids have done a pretty good job for them. I mean, good role players. I mean, Rasmus given an opportunity in center field with the injury to Rick Ankiel, and look what he's done with it. Tony La Russa ordinarily throughout his career has been more of a manager that's been comfortable with a veteran ball club, but not the last few years.
El Stavanoa comes to St. Louis a hot hitter. He was the Cardinals' minor league player of the month for the month of June. .327 hitter in the month of June and had 7 homers and 20 RBIs down in AAA. And he lines that one into left. Little soft line drive out to Ryan Braun, and it's out number 1. Time now for our carsoup.com email the booth question. How does going to the minor leagues help work things out for a player? Beth in Grafton wants to know why Manny Parra was shipped out of here for a month, Rock.
Well, we've been talking about it for a while now, but to reiterate, I mean, you don't have the pressure down in the minor leagues that you do at the big league level, and perhaps not as much of an emphasis on winning, more of a process. And you go down there, you work on a couple of things mechanically, you get your head straightened out because you don't have the pressure of competing at the big league level. Not to say the guys don't try down in the minor leagues, they do. There's not that pressure, particularly from a guy going down who has had some success in the big leagues.
Well, I think for most fans of big league baseball, and if you don't get a chance to see minor league baseball, it's hard to make that connection of how good the baseball is. I mean, there's very little difference as you look out, minus the superstar players. What you see on a day in, day out basis is the same game we're watching here pretty much every day. Now, maybe the defense is a little better, but the big difference is the consistency.
Consistency in the defense day in and day out is markedly better in the big leagues than it is in the minor leagues.
Powers one right by Pinheiro. And Parra has his second strikeout of the day.
Now, pitchers don't throw any harder. You know, pitchers don't have better breaking balls, so to speak. Hitters don't have any less power down in the minor leagues, but they do it on a more consistent basis. That's why they're at the highest level. Tough to get to the highest level and stay there.
Parra dialed in so far today. He's retired the first 8 batters and gets ahead of Brian Barden.
Just throwing an awful lot of fastballs. You like what you see from Manny so far. Exactly what they were working on. Notice how much quicker he's working as well.
And a lot of that has to do with Mike Rivera, who's making sure he gets the ball back to Parra quickly, keeping him in a good rhythm, which a good catcher can do. Good catchers can create rhythm. They can also slow pitchers down at times. I remember Jason Kendall used to do that with Ben Sheets at times.
He'd hold on to the baseball, and sometimes you work too quickly. Manny Parra, never a guy that really messed around too much when he was in the windup. It's when men got on base that he slowed down considerably.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Barden. The Cardinal third baseman this afternoon. If you don't follow the Cardinals much, this is the typical Tony La Russa lineup. He has a position player batting 9th and the pitcher in the 8th spot in the order, which is a little unusual. Tony's way. Slow roller out to McGee. And the throw pulls fielder off the bag. Well, there was an out right in front of him. Throw was up the line a little bit. Fielder thought he could maybe cheat the foot on the bag a little to get the call, but that one was an errant throw for McGee, and that'll be an error.
Well, McGee charges it, and looks like he had a pretty good throw going, but I think Prince just pulled his foot off the bag. The throw didn't look that bad.
I think you're right.
I think the throw was relatively on line, but for whatever reason, Prince took his foot off the bag. It'd be interesting to see who gets the error. That wasn't a bad throw.
Yeah, it could go to McGee, could go to Fielder. It's going to be an E5 for now. That was one of those calls that might go under review.
Not sure what was going on at first base. I mean, Prince Fielder has been exceptionally good at moving his feet around and making those plays, but for whatever reason, just didn't look like it was in sync.
Back to the top of the order now, Brendan Ryan. See how Manny handles the air, and in the stretch for the first time in this game. Brendan Ryan grounded out in the first inning. He swung at the first pitch, part of a 5-pitch first inning for Parra. Jammed it. Good fastball in there. 94 miles an hour in on the hands, and Parra works around the error. To the bottom of the third, bottom of the order coming up for the Brew Crew. Blaines Farm and Fleet. You'll always find value at your local Farm and Fleet. By Piggly Wiggly. Shop the pig and save. And by Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Frank Catalanato leads off for the Brewers as we play in the bottom of the third inning. Catalanato back in there, his second consecutive start. Corey Hart fouled a pitch off his front foot in the opener of this series, and he's going to need a couple of days. Matter of fact, Ken Mock is saying it's not a given that Corey Hart can return tomorrow to the lineup.
Yeah, Corey hasn't done anything baseball related.
Catalanato rolls one to Pujols. Gold Glove first baseman fires it to Pinheiro for out number one. I saw Corey earlier today in the clubhouse. He said he's getting better, but it hurt him. It got him good, he said. A foul ball during that 3-hit game he had on Tuesday night.
Yeah, when those things hit solid, I'll tell you what, they can smart. They can hurt. You're pounding a sledgehammer on your instep. Doesn't feel too good. Most of the time you can shrug them off, but if they get you just right, they're going to stick around a while.
And for a guy like Corey Hart, who counts on his speed, You can understand why that would be an injury he'd have a tough time bouncing back from. Mike Rivera making his first appearance since June 27th. Kendall gets the day off, day game after a night game.
Well, a lot of days off the Brewers have had recently, and Jason Kendall starting to swing the bat pretty well. So playing time for Rivera has been few and far between.
Ryan ranges over on his glove side. A sidearm flip to first. Plenty of arm strength with this Cardinal shortstop. He's something else.
Hey, Brewer fans, if you can't watch your Brewers on FS Wisconsin, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv. It's the ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 out-of-market games every week. Live on your computer, you can catch those you've missed on demand. For details, go to Brewers.com, where baseball is always on.
Here's Manny Parra. Parra at the plate this year, batting .111, 2 for 18 as a hitter. Has a walk and he struck out 8 times. Parra for his career is a .200 hitter and has been known to shoot the gap. He's posted 9 extra base hits in his career. 8 doubles and 1 triple.
Yeah, doesn't get cheated up there at the plate. Has good doubles power, and the outfield for the Cardinals relatively shallow.
.26-year-old Californian Manny Parra from Sacramento. Good cut. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Parra was drafted by the Brewers relatively late. The 26th round draft pick back in '01. Slaps one over to Barden. And the side retired. So a 1-2-3 inning for Pinheiro. He's pitching as advertised. Still scoreless as we head to the 4th. Joel Pinheiro and Manny Parra. Parra has not allowed a hit through 3 innings. There has been an error for the lone Cardinal base runner. Meanwhile, Pinheiro has faced the minimum. Fielder singled off Pinheiro, but a double play wiped out the base runner. So just 1 over the minimum.
Captain Sal in the ballpark today. Sal Bendo. See Sal bunch down in Arizona. Of course, Sal's a smart guy. He knows not to be in Arizona this time of year.
Good day to be at the ballpark. And good to see Sal Bando here. Colby Rasmus leads off for the Cardinals. Parra gets ahead of him with strike one. Manny Parra has thrown 39 pitches, Rock, 30 of them for strikes.
Yeah, doing an outstanding job so far establishing that fastball. That was the mission for Manny today. Get back to what got him to the big leagues, and that's to be a power pitcher. Throw his fastball early in the count, keep it down, not worry too much about finding the corners. If you keep the ball down around the knees, you can get away with getting too much of the plate.
3 pitches and he strikes out Colby Rasmus. 3rd strikeout for Manny Parra.
Yep, right on the outside corner, a little bit above the knees, and I'd say he looks good. He looks good and confident. He looks like he has a good idea of what he's doing out there, and working quickly. That's the important thing. Anytime you see a pitcher working that quickly, you know he's got a lot of confidence, and as you talked about, Mike Rivera knows exactly what he wants to do.
Well, the body language jumps out at you right away as he faces Pujols and drops a little changeup in there for a strike. Right back on the rubber, Parra ready to pitch. Pujols in this series has 1 hit. He singled back on Tuesday. A hit and 3 walks for Pujols. He pops it up on a 3-1 pitch. Fielder out number 2. How about that? A little changeup on a 3-1 pitch. And it gets him an out to a great hitter. And it leads us to our Athletic Trivia question. Who was the first Brewers pitcher to appear in a Major League All-Star game? We're talking pitchers now.
That's a good one. Real good one.
I have the answer for you next half inning. Chew on it for a while. I'll give you a hint, Rock. 1978. That was the year.
Okay.
So that's as much as I'm going to give you, though. Ryan Ludwig with 2 outs. Out in front of a changeup. And Casey McGee will handle it. And a 3-up, 3-down for Manny Parra. Boy, he's been lights out through 4. And now some of the All-Stars are coming up. Ryan Braun will hit 3rd when we continue. As Pujols and the Cardinals take on the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley. Fox Saturday Baseball this week, 3 Central, only on Fox. Cardinals and the Brewers wrap up their series here today. And a very well pitched game so far. Manny Parra with 4 shutout innings. The only base runner for the Cardinals reached on an error. Brian Barton reached on an E5. Pinheiro back to the top of the order.
Now something tells me that trivia question is a trick question.
The Aflac trivia
said appeared, right? Not named to the All-Star game, right?
You know, I think it did say appeared. You're saying there's a possible technicality involved.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was 1978. It was also the first year the Brewers had 3 All-Stars.
Right.
Counsell, bouncer out to Huffpower, and it's in time for the out. Well, we're talking All-Star, and these jerseys are now available. You got to go get one of these jerseys. These are sweet. T-shirts, jerseys, our first stitch promotion.
Yep, you get the National League, and you get the name on the back, the fielder and Braun. Outstanding. They look good.
Good looking stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate them sending it up.
I don't think that one fits me. It fits you, though.
The medium.
Is that what it is?
It's going to be hard to see the Brewers wearing red, though, huh? Get these red jerseys here. Cardinal jerseys in St. Louis.
Well, they wore the red hats in Chicago.
I like them, though. I think maybe you can go down and get a couple of these signed, Rock. Big autograph guy.
No, I don't do that.
See?
You know, it says on our media credential issued by Mike Vasallo, no autographs.
Oh, is that right?
Right. That doesn't mean you know. That means you can sign autographs, but you can't go seek them out.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll just walk down there with those jerseys and a Sharpie, and we'll just kind of stand around and see if Ryan Braun or Prince Fielder offers.
I'll hide behind my credential.
Ball and 2 strikes on J.J. Hardy with 1 away here in the Brewer half of the 4th inning.
By the way, Mike Vasallo, I think he pulled a groin getting into this booth very quickly, saying you were wrong about the 78 thing.
Is that right?
But it was appeared in a game.
Maybe Vasallo's the one who is not reading the fine print.
He's jumping the gun as usual. It's nice to know he's listening, though. I tell you, he was all sweated up. He couldn't wait to get in here.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had 3 All-Star jerseys before he came in, and now there's just 2. So
there's Mikey.
This is him trying not to smile.
New haircut, looks good.
Tight. John Steinmiller next to him. Roller out to second. And 2 up and 2 down. All right, the much debated Aflac trivia question. Aflac! The Duck wants to know, who was the first Brewers pitcher to appear in an All-Star game? Aflac! And the answer is 1978. Larry Sorensen. He went 3 innings and 1 hit. A 78 All-Star game.
That's a long All-Star appearance.
That's not just a guy who, sat on the bench and looked pretty for the cameras.
They didn't have pitch counts back then. Now, back in 71, Marty Patton made the All-Star team. 73, Jim Colborn. I knew that one.
Right.
Billy Travers in 76. He and Don Menny made the team that year. And in 77, Don Money again and Jim Slayton.
And all of those pitchers you mentioned were only on the All-Star team, did not appear in an All-Star game. So sometimes the truck, they get that way. We deal with it every day.
Especially a day game after a night game, they think we were a little off. Not thinking properly, which is the case most of the time.
Most of the time.
Especially true in the daytime.
0-2 to Ryan Braun. Pinheiro throwing a lot of strikes as well. 48 pitches for Pinheiro, 35 of those strikes. 35 strikes, 13 balls for Joel Pinheiro. One and 2 to Braun. All-star starter in the outfield. Ryan, a backhander. He's got a good arm. The long throw, and Braun is out. What a play by Brendan Ryan. That was something special from the Cardinals shortstop, with a very fast runner going down the line. Wow.
Our scoreless here in the top of the fifth. Time now for our Brewers crew in the community. Yesterday, the Brewers held their yearly Carnival Fest at Wick Park. The event combined an exciting day of fielding, hitting, and pitching clinics with autograph booths, games, and a picnic. Brewers players met more than 2,500 area kids. It looked a lot like a Brewers block party, but it wasn't. Remember, the next block party is this Saturday at Kern Park, and the headliners for that block party, guys, Mike Cameron and Prince Fielder. Should be a good one.
Yeah, that is fun. We've attended those block parties the last couple of years. Always a good time. Great to see the Brewers up close and personal on a Saturday afternoon.
And I made sure I was one of the first 300.
A lot of free stuff. There's the first base hit of the game for the Cardinals. Nick Stavinoa singles to left and a clean single to start this fifth inning. Stavinoa at first for Yadier Molina. Three of the National League's all-star starters matching up in this series, with Molina the starter behind the plate, Pujols at first, and Ryan Braun in left. Pujols led all vote getters. Ryan Braun led all National League outfielders. Charlie Manuel's got quite a dilemma, doesn't he, with first baseman?
Yeah, got four of them.
And Pujols in his hometown. Charlie Manuel, the all-star manager for the National League, the skipper of the Philadelphia Phillies. He'll have Tony La Russa and Joe Torre on his staff. It was announced today, Rock, that Carlos Beltran I would imagine if the vote in, the fan vote for the final spot does not go to Shane Victorino, I'm sure Victorino is going to be Manuel's selection.
You bet. Well, maybe the number 2 guy in that race might get the call. Of course, you might need another middle infielder. Mark Reynolds might be a choice.
That final vote in, by the way, ends today, I believe 3 o'clock Central. Voting will wrap up. Brandon Inge was leading the American League side, and I believe Sandoval was leading in the National League. It was either Sandoval or Victorino. They flip-flop.
Yeah, they're going back and forth quite a bit. Voting ends today for that.
I think what you're looking at, Rock, is Sandoval and Victorino are probably going to end up there. These were the 5 guys that were on the final spot voted on by the fans. You can still vote. MLB.com. It closes today. All-Star break begins on Monday. Home Run Derby Monday night. All-Star game is Tuesday in St. Louis. Final vote in for the American League. Right now, Brandon Inge is leading the way. Can't go wrong with any of these guys.
No.
Kinsler's having a great year in Texas. Sean Figgins, a versatile player, a guy that could certainly be a valuable commodity to Joe Madden in a National League type setting.
Yep, up amongst league leaders is Figgins in hits and runs for the Angels.
Now, you don't have to convince the Brewers about the value of Brandon Inge. He destroyed the Brewers during that 3-game sweep at the hands of the Tigers at Comerica.
They hit that three-run home run off of Giovanni Gallardo to beat the Brewers 3-2. They can hit. So can this guy. This guy's a tough out. He really is.
Uses right field as well as anyone. 3 doubles in this series for Molina. And all of them to the opposite field.
It was the last out in last night's ball game, and took a Trevor Hoffman changeup, and I tell you, he hit that changeup about as hard as we've ever seen anybody hit that changeup this year, and a nice play by Gamble to end the game. That was a tough play.
That was with the bases loaded. Cardinals not only threatening to tie the game, but threatening to take the lead with Molina at the plate. But Hoffman saved it, number 19 for Trevor, and a big win for the Brewers last night. I talked to Trevor earlier today. It was a lot of work at the ballpark last night. He threw over 30 pitches, and he was just saying that he was unable to command his fastball last night. You think about Trevor Hoffman, you think about his great changeup, and that changeup was there for him. But when the fastball is not located well, it gives the hitter one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, because a lot of guys are going to go up there looking for that changeup, and when he throws the fastball, it's got to be for strikes.
Hoffman gutted one out, though. He had a leadoff runner at second base with nobody out, and he was able to get out of the inning and preserve the save. It was career save number 573 for Trevor Hoffman. 2-2 to Molina. Down the right field line, foul. Long at bat.
Yeah, this is what makes Molina so tough. I mean, he's always looking to take the ball to the opposite field, which means that he waits back so well and very good at on off-speed pitches, and doesn't swing at too many pitches out of the strike zone because he waits so long.
Shadows beginning to creep out.
And because of that, you have to play him pretty much straight away, which is where the Brewers have him right now.
Parra looking for the ground ball here. Misses away, 3-2 the count. Among all of the All-Stars, Molina has had the best series so far. Fielder did win the game with an infield hit last night.
Been good for a couple of hits in the first 2 games.
Molina
Series has been good for a couple of hits in the first 2 games.
And he's been on base 8 times in this series. 3-2. Runner goes, and it's popped foul.
Well, because Molina doesn't strike out too much, they have Stabenow on the run. Stabenow not a very big lead and had a terrible jump. Just wanted to make sure that Manny was going to home plate.
Pitch number 11 of the at-bat coming to Yadier Molina. Runner takes off again. Molina drives one to left. Braun is there. Out number 1, and Stabenow has to retreat. Hit it right on the nose, but right at Ryan Braun for the first out of the inning.
It took a little off the fastball at 88 miles an hour and had Molina out in front just enough to keep it in the ballpark. Little out in front, that's not something you see Molina do much, is get out in front and pull a ball that ordinarily is going to shoot to center field.
So one gone. Stavinoa still at first, and it's Jared Hoffpower, rookie second baseman. This is the only day game in the National League today. Full schedule of games in the NL tonight, including that Astros Nationals makeup game where they're going to pick it up in the bottom of the 11th inning in a 10-10 game.
How about that? You see that? Manny Parra fell off the mound, didn't stop his delivery. It would have been a balk, and he threw a strike.
It's like a shot put in there.
Check this out.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about messing up a hitter, huh?
Look at Rivera framing one.
Watch the hitter. You got to be kidding me.
You know, Rock, deception is part of the game. That was a Chris Bosio special.
There you go. Good influence.
Strikes him out in a more traditional manner. Hoffpower's walking back to the dugout wondering what in the heck did I just see here?
I'll give you a Chris Bosio because he was known for doing some rather unusual things. But with a play like that, a pitch like that, I'll go more Pete Vukovich.
Okay. You'll give me the Bosio, but you'll call on the Vukovich.
Yeah, I raise you. I caught him both of those guys.
2 outs. That's the 4th strikeout for Parra. And Pinheiro, the pitcher, batting. Now, Manny Parra will tell you that's the athlete in him coming out.
It's the athlete and good focus. He realized that if he held on to that baseball, Stavinoa would be in scoring position.
Parra last started in the big leagues against the White Sox on June 13th. 4 starts in AAA. Returning just shy of a month down to the minor leagues. Pitching well today. Right when the Brewers need him, too. The Brewers, to start the season, were counting on Giovanni Gallardo and Manny Parra, 2 young pitchers, to elevate to the top 2 spots in the rotation. Gallardo has certainly pitched like an ace. And maybe Parra can be that guy for the second half. There's a base hit. The Cardinal pitcher, Joel Pinheiro, with his 6th hit of the year. And 2 on with 2 outs here in the 5th.
On Saturday at 6:05 p.m., the Brewers take on the Dodgers here at Miller Park, and the first 15,000 fans, 21 and older, get a Milwaukee Brewers and Miller Lite Taste Protector baseball cap that's compliments of Miller Lite.
Looking forward to the Dodgers coming to town, the best team in the National League to start the day, and they have been tough to handle this year. They are 22 games over 500. The Dodgers are 53-31 and a 7-game lead over the Giants in the National League West.
And did a lot of that damage without Manny Ramirez.
Dodgers with the best record in the big leagues. The Red Sox are having another great season. The Yankees to 50 wins already. And maybe the surprise in the American League, the Texas Rangers. 11 games over and in first place in the West.
It's going to be a good battle between the Rangers and the Angels. Because you know what ultimately ends up happening with the Texas Rangers as it gets hot down there in Arlington. August and September has a tendency to catch up to you.
The epitome of the dog days.
Yes.
2 outs and a 1-1 count on Brian Barton, Cardinal third baseman. And a breaking ball strike. Good pitch.
Yeah, Manny breaking out the curveball. He's thrown a couple of them, not many. And that one well located down in the strike zone.
2 on. This is the best opportunity the Cardinals have had today to score a run. The 9-hole hitter at the plate. Parra deals the 1-2 and a swing and a miss. Struck him out. Pulled the string on him. 2 left on. The Cardinals failed to score. Manny Parra with 5 shutout. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. To the bottom of the 5th we go, and Prince Fielder set to lead off against Joel Pinheiro. Fielder has the only Brewers hit today. Cardinals have 2 hits, both coming in the top of this inning. Little flare slicing away from Stavanoa, and that's a foul ball, not by much. Prince Fielder's mad dash last night proved to be the game winner. Ken Maka described it as blinding speed. Prince Fielder described it as panic speed.
Well, it's all about the smell. You know, the sensation of smell. He sniffed out a base hit. You find an extra gear when you sense a base hit's in your future.
Especially one that puts your club ahead in the final at bat. And it was another comeback win for the Brewers last night, something they've done about as much as anybody in baseball. They made a habit of winning games in their final at bat against the Cardinals last year. Fielder rips one into the gap, and that is going to go all the way to the wall. Outfielder's deep there. Fielder on his way to second, and he's in there with a double. Prince Fielder has both of the Brewer hits. A leadoff double here in the 5th.
I'll tell you, that guy is right on it. I mean, Prince Fielder now with base hits to the opposite field in back-to-back at bats. Fastball going away from Prince. He got that one up in the zone a little bit. Didn't try and pull it. If he tries to pull that, it's an easy ground out to second base. And Stavanoa nearly got to that ball before it got to the wall. That's how deep he's playing. And Prince in there with a leadoff double.
Beautiful piece of hitting by Fielder. Both of his hits have come to the opposite field. And here's McGee with a chance to put the Brewers on top. Runs have been tough to come by so far.
That little ABC baseball right here. Got to get him over, then get him in.
McGee grounded into a 5-4-3 double play his first time up. And a bouncer to the right side. Hoffpauir has it. The throw is in time, but a good job by Casey McGee. And a knowledgeable audience here giving him a hand as he heads to the dugout.
Now 2/3 of the way to the ABC baseball. That's the old Ted Simmons theory. That's what he liked to call it. A is the double, B is get him over, C get him in.
Fielder at third with one out, and Mike Cameron coming up. No score, each club with 2 hits. Cameron lines one through the drawn and infield. Fielder will score, and the Brewers are on the board.
And what is that?
That's C+.
That's C+. That's not only getting him in, but that's getting a base hit. Well done by the Brewers. A good start to the inning by Prince. Casey gets him over, and Cameron gets him in. Well done. Now the Brewers on the board, take an early lead.
So Mike Cameron with his 40th run batted in of the year. Cameron was on base all 4 times last night. And a hit that puts the Brewers on top 1-0. Catalanado is the batter. Cameron has good speed. We'll see if Ken Maka has something on here with Cameron at first and a good contact hitter in Catalanado at the plate.
Man, a good opportunity to maybe stay out of that double play. All the ground ball outs that Pinheiro has been getting. Only 1 fly ball out so far, and that was the first batter of the game, Counsell, fly to center.
Cameron has 4 stolen bases this year. Had 2 on opening day. Only been caught once.
Actually, Brawny lined out in the first as well, so 2.
Frank Catalanado at the plate, and he takes a ball. 2-0 to count on Catalanado.
One of the other reasons why you might want to send runners against Pinheiro is he throws a lot of strikes. He very rarely walks a batter, very rarely even behind an account. 58 pitches and 40 of them for strikes already. That's a pretty good ratio.
Little half swing roller. Ryan. A double play right in his wheelhouse. Catalanado tried to check his swing, but it ends up as a double play to end the inning. But the Brewers get a run and lead it 1-0 as we go to the 6th. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by Aflac. We've got you under our wing. Just a perfect day for baseball today in America's Dairyland. Temperatures in the high 70s, sunny skies up above, the roof is open, and the Brewers have the lead finally. finally getting a run on the board in the 5th inning against Pinheiro. Fielder doubled to start the inning. McGee moved him to third, and then Cameron drove him in. So Manny Parra back on the mound to start his 6th inning of work in his return to the major leagues, and he has been sharp here today. Parra with 5 strikeouts, no walks today, and he's only given up 2 hits. Both of those singles.
And the walk to strikeout, I should say the ball to strike ratio for Manny Parra every bit as good as the one for Pinheiro today. 55 strikes out of 74 pitches. That's tremendous.
Only 19 balls for Parra. Down the line, knocked down by McGee, and no chance at an out with the speedy Ryan moving down the line. Saved a double, however. It'll be the 3rd Cardinal hit.
Brendan Ryan has been very pesky in this series. A ball that Casey would probably tell you should have been able to make a play on. He knocked it down, and with Ryan's speed, able to make it to first base.
Now the Cardinals have their leadoff base runner aboard for the 2nd consecutive inning. Colby Rasmus at the plate. Pujols is next. This is the key batter in this swing. You certainly don't want Pujols up there with men on. Rasmus with 11 home runs this year. Cardinal rookie. But he has been vulnerable to the off-speed pitches. Hoffman struck him out yesterday on a changeup. Parra has used a steady diet of split-finger fastballs and curveballs against Rasmus. 0 for 2 is Rasmus. Parra struck him out in the 4th. Colby Rasmus has a chance at the Cardinal home run record by a rookie, which is owned by Albert Pujols. Pujols hit 21 home runs in 01. Rasmus already with the 11 that leads all National League rookies. He's also driven in 34 runs. A bouncer, foul.
Yeah, from what we've seen of him so far this year, he's not bad against left-handed pitching. A base hit a couple of nights ago against Chris Narveson, a bullet into left field. Handles himself pretty well against lefties. I guess you have to if you got a .281 batting average. That's got a good swing. He stays right in there.
Rasmus homered here 2 nights ago. Evens the count 2-2. Rasmus had a 3-hit game here Tuesday night. Drove in 2 runs and hit his 11th homer of the season. Runner at first, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball pulled foul. Fastball right on the outside corner. And for the 2nd straight at bat, Rasmus watches strike 3 go by.
Yeah, right on the outside corner both times. This one right at the knees. The one before up a little bit. But a nice job by Mike Rivera holding it right there, giving Paul Emmel a good look at it.
And with Albert Pujols coming up, let's check in with Telly.
Guys, Albert Pujols 0 for 2 today, and this is the Cardinals' 87th game, and it's only been 7 times Albert Pujols has not reached base. And last night, he did not record a hit, but he was intentionally walked. That has happened 24 times with him reaching base without a hit, and their record in those 24 games, 8-16. So that just shows you how valuable Albert is to this Cardinals offense.
Yeah, Pujols accounting for 25% of the Cardinals' runs this year. A quarter of their offensive production coming from one man.
Well, that includes RBIs, that includes runs scored, and you take away the home runs and his run scored totals, he's only scored 36 runs that he hasn't driven in himself. That's not many. That really isn't.
2-0 to Pujols. Little half swing. He goes. Well, last time up, Pujols was up there in a 3-1 count, and Parra got him to pop up in foul territory.
A good split-fingered fastball.
2 balls and a strike. 1 gone with Brendan Ryan at first base. And Pujols gets jammed. Braun with room. Ryan's going to tag. Braun makes the catch, and Ryan wisely stops.
Man, not going to make that mistake again. Well, Skip Schumacher tried to do that first game of this series, and Ryan threw him out. Difference was Schumacher did it, got thrown out at second base with Albert Pujols coming to the plate.
Pujols is 0 for 3. He's had 2 hitters counts against Parra and a couple of outs in the air from Albert Pujols. He just missed that one. Ryan Ludwig at the plate for the Cardinals. 2 gone. Ryan still at first.
You know, before Manny got sent down to the minor leagues, I don't think he ever would have thrown that pitch to Albert. A fastball in.
That's a good point.
I think he would have gone after him with change-ups, tried to catch the outside corner with him, be a little bit, you know, passive, trying to get Albert, not wanting to make a mistake inside, but he went in there and got him out.
Comes back with a fastball against Ludwig. And when you make pitches like that, especially to guys like Albert Pujols, you can just feel the confidence grow.
Yeah. It was all set up by that check swing, that off-speed pitch, the splitter that Albert couldn't hold up on. Then he came and busted him inside on a nice fastball.
Runner takes off. A curveball. Rivera throws from his knees. Ryan steals the base. Well, now the question is, do you challenge Ludwig, who is ahead in the count 2-0, or deal with a rookie, Nick Stavinoa, who's next?
Well, you got to be very careful with him, particularly because you're already down in the count. You got a young hitter up on deck. Ludwig, a bona fide RBI guy.
Ludwig, an all-star last year. Starting to get hot at the plate. 2-1. Manny just coming right after him. Tying run at second base. Parra trying to get through this 6th. If he gets Ludwig, he'll hear it from this big crowd at Miller Park. You can bet. Fastball in there again. Ludwig's up there in a hitter's count. You know he's looking for a fastball. He gets one, and he's still late.
I think what messed him up was that 2-0 pitch. Manny threw an 81-mile-an-hour changeup. He got out in front. And at that point, you're not sure what you're going to get, particularly with first base open. Then he came inside again, like he did on Albert, and Ludwig way behind it. Manny Parra is pitching today. Not just throwing the baseball, he's pitching.
Fouls one away, a changeup from Parra.
And you have to give Mike Rivera a lot of credit. Doesn't look like there's any indecision whatsoever between the two of them out there.
Two guys trying to make the most of their opportunity today. Another 2-2 from Manny Parra on the way. Ludwig bounces one to the mound. Manny's got it. And that's it. The Cardinals strand a runner at second base. And Manny gets a standing ovation as he heads to the dugout. 234 is the short code. The keyword is Brewers. Stay tuned to Brewers Live post-game with Craig and Davey for the answer. Big crowd on hand today. Looks like a sellout. It'll be close to a sellout, if not a sellout. And a good ball game going so far. The Brewers a razor-thin lead, 1-0. Manny Parra is the man of the hour right now. He has held the Cardinals down to just 3 hits. 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts and no walks. The Brewers get a run in the 5th inning. Fielder doubled to start it. McGee moved him to 3rd, and then Cameron drove him in. Cardinals had their infield in with Cameron at the plate. And Cameron was able to shoot one through the drawn in infield for a base hit. Brendan Ryan's been busy today. And 1 gone here in the 6th inning. Well, Rock, our Toyota game summary. Manny Parra has been the story, and this his best game of the season at the big league level.
Really on the attack with a fastball. Prince Fielder got it going in the 5th inning with a leadoff double. Case McGee gets him over with a ground ball, and then Cameron on the very first pitch bangs one into left field. So good small ball by the Brewers, and Manny Parra outstanding so far today.
And how important was it for McGee to get Fielder to 3rd? If the Brewers do not execute in that inning, the infield stays back. That might have even gone as an out for Mike Cameron. Certainly not a guarantee that Fielder scores. So good execution by the Brewers offensively. Joel Pinheiro has been good today. A lot of ground ball outs from Pinheiro. Ten ground ball outs for Pinheiro today.
Yep, 2 fly ball outs and 1 strikeout.
Well, they'll ask if he win. He does. Now Manny can take off, and Parra is going to reach first base. I'll tell you what, that was some big league umpiring right there. That had to be a quick call to know what was going to happen next. And Paul Immel asked for help. Dreckman raised the thumb, and Manny saw that and immediately took off to first base.
Yeah, good teamwork with the men in blue, or black if you will. Yeah, breaking ball, one of the rare times that Molina hasn't been able to keep it in front of him. You can see without being asked, and normally you've got to be asked. But in a situation like that, home plate umpire asked the third base guy, Bruce Dreckman, and he rung him up, and Manny able to get there.
Counsell rolls one to 2nd, and another double play turn. So it is wiped out just like that. The 3rd double play turn by the Cardinals today, and a scoreless 6th inning. We go to the 7th. By triple hop brewed Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. And by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tundra Territory at Miller Park.
And today's Tower of the Game winner is Soups On in Fort Atkinson. If they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a 2009 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Good game today at Miller Park. Manny Parra in his return to the major leagues after 4 starts in AAA to try to iron out some kinks has been terrific. No walks, 6 strikeouts, 6 innings for Parra, and all 3 of the hits allowed singles. They've all come in the last 2 innings. Nick Stavinoa will lead off for the Cardinals. He has 1 of the 3 St. Louis hits. He'll be followed by Molina and then Jared Hoffpower.
Well, the shadows are going to start playing a big part in this ball game. Right about now, it starts getting very tough on that hitter. Nice to have a lead at this point.
Remember, the Brewers lost a 1-0 game here against the Mets, their last day game at home. Stavinoa pops it up. Catalinato coming in. He makes a call, and he's got it for the out. That leads us to our text question of the day, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Roy Wayne on the east side wants to know, why is the 3rd game of a tied series called the rubber game? There's an explanation. Remember the guy who sent us a letter about the rubber game and why they call it that?
I don't remember.
Completely forgotten. There's a game.
Don't worry about it.
It'll come to me.
We don't know. It's just one of those things. A tiebreaker. I mean, it's a rubber game. A rubber match.
No, but it has roots, Rock. I'm telling you. We're going to find it. Meanwhile, Manny Parra quickly ahead 0-2 on Molina.
You know, certain things just don't have an explanation.
But this one does.
Okay. You act like you don't know it, though.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
I'm trying to help you.
I know. Just
don't let it get in your head. We've got more important things.
I know. We got to bear down here. R&D is on it. It may be a badminton reference. So Google rubber game and badminton and see what you come up with.
I'm going to Google it.
Molina grounds 1 to short. Strange sounding ground ball there off the bat of Molina. 2 up and 2 down for Manny Parra. Well, when you have guys basically throwing the bat at the baseball, you know your stuff is outstanding. 2 outs. Parra, 99 pitches, 72 strikes. Starts Hoffpower with a ball, a breaking ball that missed. Ken Maka has to love what he is seeing today from Manny Parra. Parra possesses the stuff that could put him at the top of the rotation. And you're seeing today what the Brewers have been hoping for from Manny Parra for a couple of seasons. We saw a little glimpse of it last year. Parra won 8 consecutive games a season ago and pitched a lot like this. He's fallen behind 3-0 to Hoffpower. That one's in there for a strike. Strike 2. Lost him. Hoffpower draws the walk. That's the first walk issued by Parra today. From Manny to Manny. Manny Parra today, Manny Ramirez tomorrow. Brewers and the Dodgers. 6:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. Hope you'll be with us. Rivera wants a word with Parra.
You got to figure that Manny Parra might be just about at the end of his rope. He's got 106 pitches. He's thrown the ball extremely well, as has Pinheiro, who is getting an opportunity to get an at-bat here. So you got to throw some strikes.
5-pitch first inning for Parra kind of set the table for the day. I guess La Russa figures, why not? Pinheiro swings the bat okay. Pinheiro had a hit his last time up.
Well, you know, he's throwing well. There's 2 outs and a man at first base, and the only right-handed hitter on the bench is Jason LaRue, the other catcher. Everybody else left-handed.
Well, this is a must-out for Manny Parra. Pinheiro singled to left, has one of the 3 Cardinal hits today. The Brewers have only 3 hits as well. Fielder has 2 of those. Cameron's single produced a run, the only run of the game. Fastball, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Parra trying to finish off the Cardinals in the 7th. Got him. Struck him out.
The 7th, Brewers ahead of the Cardinals. The return of Manny may not have the impact coast to coast like Ramirez, but here in Milwaukee, Parra doing a heck of a job today.
Boy, he certainly is, and the thing that I look for is what the 3 keys were for him that Bill Castro said. Strike 1, he threw a lot of first pitch strikes. You know, command, he had real good command, and he was getting his breaking stuff over. So when he does that, he is tough to beat.
So 7 strong innings, just 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts for Manny Parra, and we'll review his game, hopefully catch up with him in our Brewers Live post-game report on the way after the ball game. Also, you can text your votes in, get the final result of the batting stance guy as well, and our on-field instructional. Plenty going on, right?
All right, thanks a lot, Craig. Another great play by Brendan Ryan. Boy, this guy looks like he's a Gold Glover in the making here with the kind of plays he's made in this series.
Not only does he have very good hands, I mean, he goes up the middle, he goes in the hole, and has a terrific arm. I don't know of too many shortstops that we've seen that have a better arm than Brendan Ryan. I mean, throwing off balance and getting JJ easily. Our Home Depot doing more on defense today.
Committed an error in this series. It's not just the arm strength, it's the quick release that he has. He's able to get the ball in the air towards first in a hurry, and that's why last night when Fielder hit that ball in the hole, because of what Ryan has shown in this series, it looked like it was an out in the making.
Well, you can see how deep he plays at shortstop. That's why he's able to get the balls like that. I mean, he literally stands while the pitcher is delivering to home plate. He's about 5 feet onto the outfield grass, which is why he was able to get to that baseball. But in order to do that, you have to have a big-time arm. We talk about J.J. Hardy's arm as being an excellent arm. He's got a good arm, a terrific arm, and very accurate, but he does it a little bit differently than does Brendan Ryan. Brendan Ryan a lot of times will throw a little bit off balance. You can see the way he's on the grass, not just for Prince Fielder. He's like that with a lot of the right-handed hitters.
Fielder batting with 2 outs. 1-0. The Brewers lead it. Fielder at the plate, presented by Wendy's. 2 for 2 with a double and a single, and he scored the only Brewers run today. Mike Cameron had an RBI hit with 1 out in the 5th inning. And that's been it today offensively. The Cardinals will have 9-1-2 due up in the 8th inning. Carlos Villanueva continues to throw in the bullpen. It looked like Manny Parra with handshakes all around. He's done for the day after 7 shutout. Terrific performance today from Manny Parra. With a lot on his mind, you can bet. I think that trip to the minor leagues, if nothing else, Rock, it just allowed him to draw a line in the sand. You know, prior to his demotion and after his demotion. We'll see how he pitches next time around, but you can bet he's earned another shot in that rotation. And the Brewers need him. Like you said earlier, the Brewers are hoping to get back to their original 5. Dave Bush is on the mend. He is scheduled to pitch tomorrow in a rehabilitation start in Appleton. And he'll make one more rehabilitation start in Double-A, and then he'll be back after the All-Star break, and you'll be back to the original 5.
No, Manny Parra was not a one-and-done situation here today. I mean, he is a long-term solution for the Brewers. And they're hoping that 4-start stint down in the minor leagues will be just a trick. Maybe a little bit of a wake-up call as well. Who knows what it took, but I mean, early results, very good for Manny. Very aggressive. He had a different demeanor out there on the mound. He was working very quickly and threw an awful lot of fastballs early in the count, particularly early in the game. And one telling pitch was that fastball that he tried to get inside on Pujols, did it, and got the out. If that doesn't give you confidence, what will?
And that was in a hitter's count. And twice he faced Pujols in hitter's counts. Pujols popped up on a 3-1 pitch in foul territory, and then the next time up he got him on a 2-1 pitch. First time all year Parra has gone through a start without giving up an earned run. 2-2 to Fielder with 2 outs. Right off the end of the bat, a little cue shot.
Well, once again, the problems for Pinheiro and run support continue. We talked about on our scouting report today. Only 11 runs in support in 5 starts in June, and none today so far.
Fielder hammers another one right at Stavinoa. Well positioned out there, and the inning is over. Fielder is 2 for 3. Well, the National League's best show is coming to town tomorrow. The Brewers and the Dodgers. Miller Lite, what's on tap? 6:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. Manny Ramirez, Chad Billingsley. Billingsley, an all-star this year. He starts tomorrow for the Dodgers against Braden Looper. Looper, Mike Burns, and Giovanni Gallardo for the weekend. Chad Billingsley, Jeff Weaver, and Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Carlos Villanueva is in the pitch for the Brewers. 1-0 game as we play in the top of the 8th, and Brock Skip Schumacher is going to come off the bench and pinch hit here in the 8th inning.
I would imagine Tony La Russa is going to empty out his bench at this point, getting his left-handed bats in the lineup. Schumacher, the leadoff hitter for the Cardinals in the first 2 games of the series. Villanueva has been throwing the baseball pretty well. Last pitched on Tuesday. Did not allow a run. Hasn't allowed a run in his last 4 appearances.
It'll be Schumacher, then Brendan Ryan, and another lefty, Colby Rasmus, after that. Down the line, slicing foul. The pesky Skip Schumacher. He turned this one very interesting last night when he doubled down the line to start the inning against Hoffman in the 9th.
That was nice at bat, wasn't it? Took a fastball in the corner and just able to tuck it inside that third baseline.
Schumacher, a .299 hitter. On base percentage at .359.
The funny thing is, he's only got 2 stolen bases. I mean, he's got pretty good speed. Albert Pujols leads the Cardinals in stolen bases with 10. Figure that one out. Of course, he leads in everything, doesn't he?
Base hit. Leadoff single for Schumacher. He's just a tough out.
That pitch up and in. Not a bad pitch ordinarily to a lefty, but he's able to get his hands up and hit it hard into right. Well, this Sunday when the Brewers take on the Dodgers, the first 15,000 fans 17 and older will get a Chevrolet Brewers keychain featuring the hot dog racing sausage. That's compliments of Chevrolet and your local Chevy dealer.
Little delay in the action here. Mitch Stetter loosening, but La Russa, the Cardinal manager, has summoned Jason LaRue from the bullpen. Give him an option as a hitter off the bench at some point. Not sure where exactly yet, but LaRue is back in the dugout. Top of the order, Brendan Ryan. This might be a spot where La Russa puts something on.
Yeah, Villa not very quick to home plate. Plus, he throws a lot of off-speed pitches, making it tough on Rivera to throw out a runner.
1-0. The Brewers lead it.
Yeah, plus, you got a guy that can handle the bat pretty well and can shoot it to the opposite field on a hit and run.
Schumacher with excellent speed. Brendan Ryan, a free swinger at the plate, and a .297 batting average. Has an infield hit today. He's 1 for 3. Now Villanueva, not a guy who gets a lot of ground balls. Typically a fly ball pop-up type pitcher because of his changeup. Thing he does give up is a lot of balls in play off the end of the bat. A lot of squibbers.
Well, in order to do that, you got to work ahead in the count. He's down 2-0.
Runner goes in a line drive into left center. That's going to go to the wall, and that's going to tie this game. Bounces away from Cameron, Ryan on his way to third. And just like that, the Cardinals have tied it. A triple and an RBI for Brendan Ryan.
Well, it didn't take long, did it? 2 hitters, and now the Cardinals 90 feet away from taking the lead. My goodness. I mean, 2-0 pitch. Fastball down the middle, and Brendan Ryan, who has really been a thorn in the Brewers' side in this series, comes up big again.
And Maka forced to take Villanueva out of the game. Runner at third, nobody out. The Cardinals have the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Villanueva faces 2 hitters, and the Cardinals have tied it. By authority of the Brewers may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Mitch Stetter is on to pitch. He was in there to face Rasmus, but LaRussa counters with Jason LaRue here. So the right-handed batter comes off the bench to face Stetter.
Well, and he's got to at least face 1 hitter, and it might be 1 and out. Coffey getting loose. Nothing but right-handers for a while now for the Cardinals.
Albert Pujols is on deck. The Cardinals get a triple from Brendan Ryan, who's done big damage in this series, to tie the game.
I think Ken Maka very surprised that Tony La Russa pulled Rasmus from the game, bringing Stetter in, using his only other catcher. I don't believe that Stetter is going to be facing Albert.
Now this is a key batter. Stetter trying to get the out without the run scoring. Brewers have their infield in. Can't imagine a scenario where Pujols would be pitched to. Stetter having a hard time finding the strike zone.
That's why it's so important to get this guy. You get this guy, you walk Albert, and you hope for a double play. But if you walk LaRue, I mean, it'd be tough to walk Albert Pujols.
Three balls and a strike on Jason LaRue, St. Louis backup catcher. And Stetter lost him. Boy, that is a big at bat. And now that is going to send the manager to some serious risk reward decisions here.
Well, 2 right-handers coming up. I can't believe that Stetter's going to face either one of them, and here comes Ken Maka. What do you do if you're Ken Maka? I mean, you had the matchup that you wanted. Villanueva's been throwing well. You bring Stetter in to face Rasmus. I, like Ken Maka, was surprised that Jason LaRue was up there to pinch hit.
After 2 scoreless innings last night, Todd Coffey steps right into the Hornets' nest here today. 2 on, nobody out. Albert Pujols coming up. And the Cardinals have tied it on a Brendan Ryan triple. Coffey just going to try to do all he can to prevent the run from scoring, and if nothing else, at least give up just the 1 run at this point.
Yeah, that's the best you can hope for. You know, with the part of the order that the Cardinals have up, Pujols, Ludwig, and Stavanova, who are probably going to be pinch hit for. But that inherited runners number for Coffey is really going to be put to the test. He's allowed only 9 of 30 to score. That's pretty good. But it's going to be tough for him to keep Brendan Ryan from scoring with nobody out, and he's at third base.
Coffey last night, 2 scoreless with 1 hit allowed. He bridged the gap to Trevor Hoffman. Coffey had a couple of strikeouts as well. And Todd also won last night, his 4th win of the year. All tied at 1. Pujols is 1 for 10 in this series. He has been quiet, but he will not be quiet for long. The Brewers would just as soon he wait another couple of innings. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Brewers still have their infield in. Middle infielders halfway in. Ryan has good speed at third base. And it's 2 balls and no strikes on Pujols.
Being very careful. You don't blame him.
A single, a triple, and a walk in this inning. Coffey, the 3rd reliever used. Pujols down the line. That is going to go to the wall. Ryan scores. LaRue chugging towards 3rd, and he is going to hold up at third base. Albert Pujols with an RBI double, and the Cardinals have a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning.
I can't fall behind Albert Pujols all day and expect to keep him bottled up. 2-0 pitch up and in, and Albert able to pull the hands in and rip it down the third baseline. There you see the pitch. It looked like not a bad pitch. I think they wanted it a little bit further in, but he's too good of a hitter. That broken 0 for 8 stretch for Albert Pujols.
Cardinals have 2 runs in, and they are threatening for a big inning here. Second and third, still nobody out, and Ryan Ludwig coming up. Well, what a nightmare for the Brewers bullpen here. Manny Parra gives them 7 shutout in his return to the big leagues. Villanueva faced 2 batters, gave up 2 hits. Stetter walked a man, and now Coffey surrenders an RBI double to Pujols. That one's well hit. Way back left center. Cameron on the run. It's gone. 3-run home run for Ryan Ludwig. And the Cardinals have busted it wide open here in the 8th.
Boy, what happened to this game? My goodness. Wow. Well, fastball down and in. And Ryan Ludwig starting to get hot. First hit of the night, or of the day, second home run of the series. And second 3-run home run of the series.
The first 5 batters to bat in this 8th inning have all scored. 4 hits and a walk. 5-1 St. Louis. Here's Rick Ankiel coming off the bench, and a base hit. Ludwig now with 45 runs batted in. Mark DeFelice loosening in the bullpen. You just wonder how much Coffey has in him after 2 high stress innings yesterday, 2 scoreless innings.
Well, Ken Maka forced to go to him. I mean, he was hoping to be in a way would be able to get through this 8th inning and then go to Trevor. Assuming Trevor was available after a 30-plus inning last night, pitch inning.
Still nobody out. 6 consecutive batters have reached base.
This was a good game for a while, wasn't it? That just completely deteriorated very quickly.
Brewers still have 6 outs to try to make a comeback, but right now trying to get it out in this 8th inning. 7th man to bat in the inning. Yadier Molina is 0 for 3. Well, if there was ever a time for a ground ball, it is right here. Coffey has that power sinker. Molina not a fast base runner. Get 2 quick outs. Try to get this thing to the dugout as soon as you can and turn it over to your offense and hope the Brewers can find some run support.
Well, you can only imagine what's going through Ken Maka's mind at this point. Mark DeFelice getting loose in that bullpen. He would be the 4th pitcher in this inning.
Now the first 3 have yet to get an out. Well, it turns in a hurry. Runner goes. Rivera's throw right on the bag and an out. Must have been a cross-up in the signals as Ankiel was thrown out by plenty by Mike Rivera.
Yeah, not a very big lead, not a very good jump. It looked as though it was a hit and run, but I mean that looked like a missed sign from the get-go. Good pitch to throw on for Rivera and gets Ankiel by about a third of the way to second base.
First out of the inning. Base is empty now. 2 balls and a strike on Molina.
Thank you very much.
That was a gift, wasn't it? 2-2 to Yadier. The Brewers will have Casey McGee, Mike Cameron, and Frank Catalanato due up in the 8th inning. Got him. Strikeout for Coffey. Second out of the inning.
That good slider by Coffey that time, right on the outside corner. Molina didn't like the call, but it looked like it had plenty of the plate.
Five runs in for the Cardinals here in the 8th inning. And here's Jared Hoffpower. Nothing but zeros. The Brewers got a run in the 5th on a Cameron RBI. And a big, fat, crooked number for the Cardinals here in the 8th. Brewers started the day a game back of the Cardinals in the Central, but tied in the loss column. Cardinals have played 2 more games than the Brewers, and they will have played 3 more games than Milwaukee at the All-Star break. They have a doubleheader on Sunday in Chicago. Day-night doubleheader.
Cardinals have 4 days off for the break. Brewers only 3, so they'll make up 1 then.
0-2 to Hoffpower. 1-2.
Coffey looks like he's laboring out there.
He does.
He really does.
As sharp as he was yesterday, as crisp as his fastball was. Different story today.
That bouncing sliders, and that's a sign of fatigue.
In the air to right. Catalanato drifting back, and that's the inning. But what an inning it was for the Cardinals. They score 5 runs before there was an out. And it's 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Well, Ryan Ludwig, for the 2nd time in this series, belts a 3-run home run, capping off a 5-run eighth inning for the St. Louis Cardinals. And our USL text to vote: should the All-Star game determine home field advantage? And as of right now, 66 say no, 66%. We'll keep it going throughout the week. We'll wrap it up Sunday. So get interactive with us, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. 234-234 is the short code. Still time. Brewers down 4. Changes for the Cardinals. Schumacher stays in to play left field. Rick Ankiel stays in to play center, and Joe Thurston is the new third baseman. Meanwhile, Joel Pinheiro back on the mound, trailing 1-0 the last time he left the mound, and now he is ahead by 4. Pitching in his 8th inning, and Rocky only has 80 pitches here in the 8th inning.
Well, finally getting some run support. We talked about that in the beginning of the ball game, that the Cardinals haven't scored many runs for him, but he continues to throw the baseball pretty well. Keeping the ball down, not beating himself, not walking batters.
And a lot of ground ball outs just like that. Pinheiro has delivered 3 ground ball double plays in this game. So even though the Brewers have 3 hits, twice those hits have been wiped out with a double play ball.
Brewers have only been able to elevate the baseball 4 times make it.
Cameron flares one. Little foul pop. Easy play for Pujols. 2 quick outs for Pinheiro. Pinheiro leads the National League in losses. 6-9 this year, but the run support has been the issue. Look at all the ground ball outs today.
Yep. 4 fly ball outs, 3 strikeouts, everything else on the ground. That's a good way to attack a team that hits a lot of home runs. You can see why he's only given up 3 home runs all year.
Catalanotto is 0 for 2. He grounded into a double play in the 5th inning. The only run scoring inning for the Brewers today. Bouncer to third, broke his bat. Pinheiro, a 1-2-3 inning. Making a bid at his 3rd complete game of the year. The Brewers go quietly in the 8th. 5-1 St. Louis. We head to the 9th. Well, the Cardinals, on the strength of a 5-run 8th inning, the only inning that they have scored in this game, have a 5-1 lead as we head to the 9th inning. St. Louis brings 8 men to the plate in the 8th. They scored 5 runs before there was an out. completely turning this game around. Now Chris Smith is on the pitch. He'll have the 9th. Pitcher Joel Pinheiro will lead off, making a bid at his 3rd complete game of the season.
Yeah, Smith has been very impressive so far since his recall. Pitched yesterday, pitched a scoreless inning. Got a 169 opponent batting average. 13th game here today. I like the way he pitches. He keeps the ball down, good changeup. He'll flip up a curveball from time to time, but throws a lot of strikes.
Pinheiro has been a great find for the Cardinals. Now in his 3rd season with St. Louis, the Red Sox kind of had enough with Pinheiro back in the 07 season. Struggling with some injuries, some back issues. Cardinals picked him up. He finished the season in 07 with St. Louis and then was in their regular rotation last year. And Pinheiro is going to be safe, and that is indicative of how this game has turned. Broken bat single for Joel Pinheiro.
And kind of a no man's land. I don't know if JJ would have had a play on him because he runs pretty good. I mean, for a pitcher, he gets down the line. Little backhand play. Tried to set himself as he caught the baseball and went off the heel of his glove. Kind of a tricky hop over Casey McGee's glove.
So a leadoff runner aboard for the Cardinals. And it's Skip Schumacher, a bouncer. Counsell flips it to Hardy in time to get the lead out. Might have had a chance at a double play. Schumacher runs well, so it would have had to have been a quick flip to Hardy and a clean play.
I don't even think JJ has enough arm to turn that double play, but it would have been close. Nothing coming easy to the Brewers in the last couple innings. Ground ball up the middle. Still has the presence of mind to get it to JJ for the out.
By the way, Pinheiro is not going to be awarded a hit. That'll go as an error on Hardy. E6. So the 2nd Brewers error today.
That's a tough error.
That is a tough error.
I think. Ball in the hole. His vision was kind of blocked out by Casey McGee diving for the baseball. Took a little bit of a funny hop.
One out runner at first. Brendan Ryan. 2 hits today, and he had a big hit last inning. RBI triple. His triple tied the game, but it also put him at 3rd base with nobody out, which set up the entire inning for the Cardinals. Ryan drove in a pair yesterday with a double. Had a hit in the opener. A liner foul down the left field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brendan Ryan. Cardinals are headed to Chicago right after the game today. They'll bust down I-94. They start a 4-game series with the Cubs in 3 days. The tightly packed National League Central. Cardinals and the Brewers tied in the loss column. St. Louis a 1-game lead because of 2 extra wins. Smith strikes out Ryan. 2nd out of the inning.
Well, Ryan thought it was down in the strike zone, but look at a pretty good pitch. Guess I may be a bit biased. Probably caught the knees on the side angle.
So 2 outs, still a runner at first, and here is Joe Thurston, his first at-bat of the day. Came in to play third base last inning. The Brewers will have Mike Rivera, then a pinch hitter, and then back to the top of the order, due up in the 9th inning. So down 4 runs, if you can get some guys on base, you'll be right in the middle of the order for the Brewers. If you look at the National League Central, if you look at the loss column, 2 games separate 5 teams. Reds and the Astros have lost 42 games, the Cubs 41, the Brewers and the Cardinals 40 losses. The Brewers swept the Cardinals in St. Louis earlier this year, and then St. Louis came in here in May and won 2 out of 3, and they're threatening to take 2 out of 3 once again. There was a stretch last year. The Brewers won 13 out of 15 games against St. Louis.
You got to take good care of business in your own division. And the Brewers, for the most part, did a pretty good job of that. I mean, really taking apart the Pittsburgh Pirates all season long. Had a good season series against the Astros. Did well against the Cardinals. That's what you have to do with the unbalanced schedule. Play those teams the most, 17, 18 times a year.
Brewers are 9 games over 500 against their division this year. There was a long stretch from 1998 to 2007 concerning the Brewers and the Cardinals, where the Brewers had 1 season with a winning record against St. Louis. They were 7-6 in '99 until they went 10-5 against the Cardinals last year.
Ken Maka doesn't care much about last year. Well, you see the frustration on his face.
Full count, runner takes off. Thurston pops it foul and out of play. It's a what-if kind of game.
Yeah.
And managers wear it more than any, especially National League managers. So you bounce around the pitcher at the plate and try to get the proper matchups. From one former Athletics manager to another, La Russa to Maka. Base hit. Schumacher will stop at second. So that's going to give Albert Pujols another at-bat in this game.
Well, Maka had it set up the way he wanted to. He couldn't have asked for a better outing from Manny Parra. You get being away in the 8th, Trevor Hoffman in the 9th, and pop yourself a cold one and celebrate a series win, but it didn't work out that way. It took 3 pitchers to get out of the 8th inning. And Albert Pujols gets the bat twice in the last 2 innings. That's how tough it's been.
Pujols put the Cardinals on top with a double last inning. And the way Ryan Ludwig's swinging the bat, that is probably going to limit the amount of intentional walks that Pujols is getting. Ludwig is really starting to show his all-star form from a year ago.
I'd make Ludwig drive in all the runs. I still wouldn't allow Pujols to beat you if you could pitch around him. You have first base open, or maybe give him first base with 2 outs. Ludwig's going to have to be the guy to drive him in for me.
Down the line, McGee's got it. Long throw across the diamond is wild. And Pujols is safe on an infield hit. Good play by Fielder to keep that one in play, or otherwise Cardinals are going to score another run.
Well, it's been a fist fight in this inning in the infield, hasn't it? JJ bobbled a ball. Craig Counsell bobbled one. Now Casey McGee. A good throw gets Albert. I think a generous scoring decision.
So Ryan Ludwig is up with bases loaded. 5-1 Cardinals. If the Brewers have any hopes of coming back, got to keep it that way. Ludwig has 6 RBIs in the series on 2 swings of the bat, and a 3-run homer on Tuesday night and a 3-run home run last inning. And it went from a 2-1 Cardinal lead to a 5-1 lead, just like that.
A lot of Cardinal fans in the ballpark. Boy.
One and 2 to Ryan Ludwig. Plays off, changeup. And the count evens at 2-2. Get those rally caps on. It's time for it. Now the Brewers have been able to come back a lot this year. They've had more comeback wins than any other in the National League. They had a comeback win yesterday. A 5-4 win over the Cardinals. St. Louis shut out the Brewers in the opener 5-0 on Tuesday. Two balls, 2 strikes. Cardinals have the bases loaded. And Ludwig pops it foul. I think the Brewers feeling fortunate that they missed Chris Carpenter in this series. But there has been some well-pitched games. Pinheiro today and Adam Wainwright in the opener on Tuesday. Carpenter gets the ball tomorrow against the Cubs. He matches up with Rich Harden. Harden coming off his shortest start of his career against the Brewers his last time out. Cardinals are also getting Kyle Loesch back in the fold. He's due to return from the disabled list on Sunday. They will be anxiously awaiting the return of Mark DeRosa and seeing if he is going to be able to continue this year. He's got a wrist injury, torn tendon, on the 15-day disabled list, but it's going to be a lot longer than that for DeRosa. Ludwig strikes out. Cardinals strand the bases loaded, and we'll see if the Brewers have some 9th inning magic in them. They're down 4.
Menard's game reset. Manny Parra coming back to the big leagues, and the Brewers, an outstanding performance. Did not walk a batter in 7 strong innings. Mike Cavan in the 5th, driving in Prince Fielder, giving the Brewers a 1-0 lead until the 8th inning, where the Cardinals broke out the whooping sticks. It took 3 pitches to get through the 8th inning, and Ryan Ludwig with the big blow, a 3-run home run. His second of the series, second 3-run home run of the series, and Joe Pinheiro continues out there in the 9th. He's been throwing the baseball extremely well today.
And a pitch count that is in great shape. He's only thrown 85 pitches through 8 innings. Mike Rivera leads off. Matt Gamble has moved into the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit next, and then back to the top of the order. Brewers need base runners. Down 4 runs with 3 outs to work with. Pinheiro has 2 complete games this year, which leads the major leagues, and a 3rd one is right in front of him. Tony La Russa has his closer Ryan Franklin loosening just in case. All-star closer of the Cardinals. Mike Rivera down the line. That's fouled. By the way, the last inning, or the top of the 9th, Pinheiro was charged with an error, or reached on an error. That has been changed back to a hit, Rock, if you're keeping the scorebook here.
Okay.
So that's a hit for the Cardinals, which gives them 11 hits in this game and gives Pinheiro 2 hits at the plate. 2 for 4 as a hitter today, and 8 innings of just 1-run baseball.
I think that's the right call. Yeah, a lot going on in front of J.J. Hardy on that play. Base hit.
Rivera strikes out. 4 out, number 1. Well, last night, Matt Gamble, his Powerball home run, number 3. Second of the year against the Cardinals. Part of that 3-run 4th inning for the Brewers, and a 5-4 comeback win for Milwaukee. Gamble pinch hitting here in the 9th with 1 away. Pinheiro now has 4 strikeouts. Two balls and a strike on Gamble. Top of the order is next. Brewers Live coming up soon as we're done here. Greg and Davey. Telly with post-game sound. You're hearing from the manager today, Ken Maka. And if the Brewers don't come back, this is going to be one of the tougher losses of the season. A 1-0 lead going into the 8th. The Cardinals score 5 runs before there was an out in the 8th inning on a bullpen that has been one of the best in the league this year. Brewers with only 3 hits. 2 of those came in the run-scoring inning in the 5th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pinheiro, he's not moving.
Locked in.
Locked and loaded. Never left the rubber. And he strikes out Matt Gamble. Boy, what a performance today from Joel Pinheiro.
Now, since the 5th inning, where Cameron got his base hit to drive in Prince, the only base runner has been Manny Parra, who reached base on a strikeout. Good movement on that fastball. The way he's been able to keep the ball down has been impressive. Has not yet got to 100 pitches.
5 strikeouts for Pinheiro. Has not walked a batter. Pinheiro has faced just 1 over the minimum in this game. Been 3 double plays turned behind him. Even in the run scoring inning for the Brewers in the 5th, he faced just 4 batters. Cardinals have pitching. There is no doubt about it. Cubs have pitching.
And so do the Dodgers, unfortunately. Dodgers coming in here tomorrow.
And the Brewers are going to see their all-star right-hander, Chad Billingsley, a 9-game winner this year. Broken bat, Ryan coming in. And a masterpiece from Pinheiro. He faces 28 batters today. 1 over the minimum. And the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers. A 5-1 final score, courtesy of a 5-run 8th inning. And Pinheiro wins for the 7th time this year.